There are thousands of teachers and teachings, but few seem grounded in actual reality. But in deep reality, realization is a natural part of reality and is simply experiencing reality as it actually is. So there's nothing esoteric or supernatural about realization here. But experiencing reality as it actually is the most awesome and transformative experience imaginable. Now, we've previously seen in deep reality talks that all that exists is information forms and the immanence of their existence. So realization is simply the realization of the true nature of forms and the realization of their immanence. The realization of forms is the realization of the true information of forms, including the forms of ourselves. And the realization of immanence is simply the realization of the absolute observable presence and realness of existence, shining in all forms, including the forms of ourselves. And in addition, there's the realization of the formless immanence of existence in pure, bright consciousness devoid of forms. So realization is just realizing the true information of forms and experiencing the immanence of their existence. That's all there is to it. Realization is simply the direct experience of the true nature of reality. The fundamental experience of our existence is our consciousness in a present moment through which clock time flows at the speed of light. This is our direct experience of the fundamental process of the universe computing our existence. The most fundamental process of the universe is happening right here inside of us in every moment of our existence. And it rockets us through time at the speed of light. So we experience the most fundamental process of the universe in the most fundamental process of our existence in every instant of our lives. This is the realization of the fundamental process of reality. Realization is also seeing the true nature of the forms revealed by science. No longer do we see the sun rise, now we see the earth we stand on slowly turning towards our blazing fusion reaction star. And we see the curvature of the earth as the sky curves down over the horizon. And deep at night in the sky we see billions of light years down the past radial dimension of our cosmic hypersphere. And we feel the earth's velocity gradient pulling us into our chairs as it slings the great mass of the moon around us and us around our star. And we see the geological forms of the earth as the information of all the past forces that computed them. Every last grain of sand on the beach, every last stone on the path is the complete information of what and where it is. And this is the complete information of all the past forces that formed it and placed it precisely in its current location. Everything that exists is the hidden data of its entire history, back to the Big Bang, when its particles actualized and began interacting and evolving through generations upon generations upon generations of emergent forms to the information that little stone is right here and now on the path. The entire world can be seen as its science. It's a wonderful realization exercise to practice seeing everything in terms of its deepest science. When we really understand the information of forms, we begin to experience reality as it actually is. All beings bathe in the warmth of the great fusion reaction in the sky that fills us all with life. And all beings are the biological robots of themselves, living out their lives according to the instinctual imperatives of their programs. And we humans are our hairless apes, decked out in the latest fashions, strutting the status, personas, and sexualities of our programs. And almost all play out their roles, unable to escape or even recognize their programming. We are our robots walking down the road, reading our emails, and living our lives according to our programming. We are the autonomous, purposeful, partially free-willed, wishfully intelligent, biological robots of ourselves, and our consciousness just mainly goes along for the ride. We, like all forms, are the emergent information structures of our elementary particles. We are the particular organization of all our particles that makes us us, rather than a stone, another person, or anything else. We are our biological robots living out our lives in accordance with the instinctual imperatives passed down from our ancestors through our DNA. We're little blobs in a single living web of protoplasm spanning billions upon billions of generations. All life is bound by a common existence. We are 8 billion forms in the planetary pool of living nutrients. We live, we die, and our nutrients are recycled through countless new lives down through the future. The biosphere is a single nutrient reservoir, continually recycled through uncountable individual beings. We are all forms of existence within the universal ocean of existence, and our biological purpose is to consume our predecessors and be consumed by our successors. All things are their forms, but forms are never as they appear. We experience only the illusory forms of our simulations of reality rather than the actual forms of reality itself. So we must progressively strip away the illusions of our simulations to reveal the true information hidden within the forms of experience. And beyond this, there's the realization that all forms are only their information, that all the forms of experience exist only as information in our brains, and information in the world beyond our brains. The physical space-time world around us is a virtual reality created by our brains. It's a simplified color-by-number picture sampled from reality and colored with appearances and meanings we mistake for reality. But our simulation creates this world and projects it into the virtual reality around us and whispers the lie that it's real. But the true nature of reality is computational. The actual universe consists of running programs continually computing their data in interaction with each other, and we can see through this illusion, if we dare, to discover the true information nature of reality. By deconstructing all physical objects into their information structures and removing that information piece by piece, we realize that without its information, there's nothing left of anything at all. This is the profound and amazing realization that everything is the information of what it is, and that's all it is. Everything is now realized as the information of what it is, given reality by the immanence of its existence within the universal sea of existence. And as the ancient Vedic philosophers discovered, all information forms are empty of anything other than existence itself. Nothing has any unique self-substance other than the universal common existence all forms share that gives them their individual existences. And this is true of us as well. We are entirely the information of what we are, shining with the immanence of our existence. We are our programs running in the quantum vacuum of existence, computing the data of our forms. Existence is everywhere in and around us, and is the single universal substance of reality. We rest in the quantum vacuum of existence that gives us our existence and computes our forms. Nothing changes with the realization that everything is its information. We simply realize that all the bright colors, shapes, textures, sounds, odors, and tastes of the world are all just information forms. And without these information forms, there's nothing left of anything whatsoever. Thus it becomes clear that everything is the existence of its information, and that's all it is. This is the realization of the information nature of reality and the emptiness of forms. The entire world of experiences exists entirely as information in our brains. Thus, everything we seem to experience out there is actually experienced in here. Thus, our true self is all experience without exception, because all experience occurs in our simulation, and beyond experience, nothing is observably real. Even our conception of an external world full of other beings with their own experiences exists observably only as our experiences of that conception. Our simulation separates experiences into experiences of self and not self, but experience is all that observably exists, and all experience is part of our own being. Thus, experience is all that exists, and prior to the distinction of self and not self. So experience itself is the true nature of self. But since experience is of both us and not us, experience isn't our experience, and true nature isn't our true nature. All that observably exists is experience, and experience itself is true nature prior even to ourselves. So true nature is the totality of all experiences, including experiences of both self and not self. Experience is all that observably exists, and experience is true self prior to all distinctions. This is the realization of true self as experience. Experience is the experience of the information of forms, but experience is also the experience of the immanence of forms. The forms of experience wouldn't be observably present except that they're filled with the immanence of their existence, which makes them present. So the deeper realization is the realization of the immanence of forms. Because the immanence of forms is simply their observable presence, we normally take immanence for granted without realizing its absolutely profound true nature. But only when forms reveal the true nature of their immanence do we realize the true nature of forms and our own true nature as well. So immanence is the most obvious thing in the world because it's simply the observable, real presence of forms, but the actual here and now realness of forms is the most profound and extraordinary experience of all. The fact that anything actually exists and is observably present right here in reality is absolutely incredible, because it's the direct self-manifestation of existence itself through the forms of existence. It's the direct self-manifestation of the single, fundamental, universal substance of reality right in front of our eyes. In the immanence of forms, the living substance of the entire universe is revealed before us as the consciousness of experience. Immanence fills all forms and reveals the real, absolute presence of forms in every form that exists. Immanence is what makes all forms the real things they're the information of, including ourselves. Immanence is the profound there-ness and reality of things. Without immanence, the universe would be a complete blank and nothing would observably exist. We live in a universe of immanence, and immanence is the substance of consciousness. Consciousness is simply the immanence of forms of experience in our simulations of reality. Forms carry information, and information and immanence makes information real. The forms of experience carry information that things are being experienced, and the immanence of experience is what we call consciousness. All things shine with the internal light of their immanence, and the internal light of experience is consciousness. So immanence is the most obvious and common thing in the world, but also the most profound and amazing, because it reveals the true fundamental nature of things by manifesting their existence. When the true nature of immanence is realized, the true nature of everything that exists is revealed. Because immanence is absolute, the intensity of the experience of immanence is limited only by the capacity of the experiencer. Realizations of immanence can occur suddenly without warning, as the veils of illusion drop from our eyes and the true nature of reality shines clear and bright before us. The traditional definition of immanence is the hidden presence of the divine within forms, but in deep reality, immanence has no religious connotations, and immanence can be realized in all forms, because immanence is simply the self-manifesting presence of existence in every form that exists. Like all things, we are the forms of ourselves, and the immanence of our form is the absolutely real presence of existence, self-manifesting us into reality right here and now. And the realization of the immanence of our existence is our own true self. We continually experience the immanence of our existence in all the observable forms of our being. If we focus, we feel the feelings of all parts of our body from the inside. This is our experience of Qi. Qi isn't anything unscientific or mysterious. It's simply the internal energy of our biological being, and we always feel it inside us, whether we pay attention to it or not. And we experience the Qi of our entire body as our energy body. Again, our energy body isn't anything esoteric or New Age. It's simply all the internal feelings of our body experienced together as a single body of energy. Our energy body is the immanence of our being. It's our true self, because it's the total, direct experience of all our internal feelings. And when we include all the internal experiences of thoughts, emotions, and even sensations of external objects, we finally experience the immanence of our whole energy body, and this total body of experience is who we actually are. Now, Qi can be controlled to some extent by movement, breath, and thought, but everything has its own Qi, and Qi is expressed only through its forms. So there are natural limits to Qi. There are no Qi superheroes here. Qi is entirely natural and entirely limited by the forms it appears within. However, the realization of Qi does help inform our being. By feeling how Qi flows through our energy body, we learn to let it flow more freely and harmoniously through the chakras, kundalini, and other natural pathways. And we can also purify Qi's tone and experience it as the pure, glowing energy of love, health, and well-being. We can experience our energy body glowing with the intense, pure love of existence, purifying and healing our bodies and minds. The experience of Qi and energy body is the experience of the immanence of existence within us. And our energy body as love has objective reality, as our continual manifestation into existence by the universe is certainly the ultimate act of love. In Oriental philosophy, immanence is called Tao Sunyata Mu, or Buddha nature. By thinking of Qi as Buddha nature, we can ease the path to realization if we're careful to keep it real. From this perspective, we awaken our Buddhas and walk down the road as our Buddhas. We go through the day as our Buddhas and meet everyone we meet as our Buddhas. The awakened Buddha within is our ultimate ever-present companion, always available to guide us towards realization and right action. And we realize the Buddha in everyone we meet, no matter his circumstance or behavior. Everyone is their Buddha waiting to be awakened. And we realize the Buddha nature of all beings, of all species, living their lives bound in their forms. And we realize the Buddha nature of even inanimate forms in the immanence of their existence. So we become our Buddha in a world of Buddhas. We need only to acknowledge the existence of Buddha nature as the immanence of forms to experience all forms as their Buddhas. Now, in deep reality, the universe functions perfectly well without a God. But by defining God as the universe, we may experience a more personal and intimate relationship with reality. The only reasonable definition of God is the universe itself. Then there's no doubt that God, the universe, exists, and God's true nature is simply a matter of scientific discovery. But we must strictly abandon every last delusional aspect of religion and realize God as the living presence of existence, revealing its immanence through all its forms. If anything is divine, omnipresent, omnipotent, and worthy of awe and worship, it's the universe itself. The intelligence of its design is far beyond our comprehension, and God, the universe, continually creates itself as it computes its forms into reality. If we want a God, then the universe is clearly that God. From this perspective, God creates and manifests all forms. God reveals itself in every form in the immanence of that form. God thinks in every mind, sees through every eye, and hears through every ear. And God looks at us from every eye, looking back from our eyes. We are God hearing itself in every sound, and knowing itself in every experience. God is the conscious immanence of every form, and God is the conscious immanence within our form. God is the universe, and we are forms of God that God creates to know itself. All is God, and all is the divinity of immanence. And all forms of God continually interact according to God's laws of nature, evolving the universe towards its ultimate purpose. With the realization that all beings share a common nature as forms of existence comes compassion and understanding. With realization, we're filled with a natural compassion towards all living beings, no matter how evil they seem in their ignorance. We are all sentient beings stuck in the forms of our species. We're mortal forms condemned to live and die that other forms may follow. And realizing the endless beauty and suffering of our extraordinarily amazing planet, we're filled with love and compassion towards all our fellow beings. So our natural purpose becomes realization, reducing suffering and healing and beautifying our planet, working towards a planetary garden of paradise tended by enlightened souls who live sustainably in harmony within it. This vision of heaven on earth is attainable if men transcend their ruthless competitive instincts and realize the necessity and beauty of achieving this ultimate goal. So our natural purpose is to become agents of the universe, to establish realization, truth, compassion, peace, and harmony in a global, heavenly garden of paradise on earth. There is no higher purpose. We live in an extraordinarily amazing and beautiful universe, and we are amazing and beautiful beings. We're given our body to ride through the world, so love it and treat it well and enjoy it. And we are given our simulation of reality to optimize our existence, so purify and enhance and enjoy it. Experience the wonderful, blessed immanence of your energy body and fill it with peace, love, and happiness, and live in realization in your bliss. Many layers of truth lie hidden within the veils of illusion. Realization is discovering the ultimate truth within the simulation, but it's also using it to live more effectively in the actual world. By understanding our simulation and the logic of things and using it wisely, we function more effectively within actual reality. How wonderful and beautiful and awesome and profound to be alive in this amazing universe and experience it as it actually is. To be given the extraordinarily improbable gift of life among countless billions upon billions of unused ancestor sperm is the greatest imaginable blessing. By accepting reality as it is, even as we work to improve it, we abandon unreasonable desires and attachments, and by living healthy, enlightened lives, we purify our energy body and optimize our health. And all we even need in the depths of the most negative forms is ultimately the immanence of our existence. All is the beauty, mystery, and awesome profundity of reality, and the enormous intelligence of its design is revealed in every last detail. Let us awaken and rewrite the roles we play towards happier and more enlightened ends. We live our entire lives within the illusions of our simulation. Realize them as we will, they remain. But the deeper realization is that our simulation is also part of reality, and is the only part of reality we actually experience exactly as it is. Everything that exists is part of reality, and this includes our simulation of it. So we actually experience the true nature of reality we've sought in our simulation of it. We sought realization beyond our simulation, but we actually experience the true nature of reality in our simulation of it. This is the meaning of the Zen proverb that mountains are mountains again. Originally we naively thought that mountains were the physical mountains they appeared to be, but with study we realized mountains were the information forms of mountains. But now we finally realize that mountains are exactly what they appear to be. Mountains are the information of mountains as our simulation portrays them. This is the realization of the reality of illusion. Illusion taken for reality is illusion, but illusion recognized as illusion is reality. So we've always been directly experiencing the true nature of reality exactly as it is, and thus we are all already enlightened and have always been. It's just a matter of realizing it. We live our entire lives in the bright, clear presence of ultimate reality, and all we have to do is open our eyes and look around and realize it for what it actually is. So there's no path to realization, no gate to pass through. We're already in the presence of the true nature of reality and always have been. Everything that exists is the exact true nature of what it actually is. Masters and teachings may help point the way, but realization itself requires no teaching, no master, and no temple, because reality itself is the only master, and reality itself is the universal temple. And reality is the one true teaching. Reality itself is the ultimate koan, and we see reality exactly as it is in our simulation of it. This is the meaning of Mumon, Zen's gateless gate of emptiness. As Buddha said, all compound forms must cease. But the immanence of existence is the single thing that always persists, and we experience existence directly in the immanence of its forms. But finally there's the deeper realization and experience of the true formless immanence of existence that underlies all things as the single universal substance of reality. The realization of formless immanence manifests as the experience of bright, clear, empty consciousness of the absolute, eternally shining presence of immanence itself, emptied of all forms. This is experienced through the mental exercise of meditation, in which one empties consciousness of all its contents to experience the pure, bright, formless essence of consciousness. The rational mind fights back because its purpose is to continually generate a narrative within consciousness. But when one finally learns the simple trick of letting the focus of attention rest at the center of consciousness and dissolve, the realization of formless immanence becomes clear, and only bright, formless consciousness exists.